We're now going to begin with our next segment of the Fireside Chats. And the first informal conversation will have the experts sharing their opinions on digital marketing, the key driving forces in 2023. Please put your hands together for the gentleman who's going to, please put your hands together as the session is going to be chaired by Vyoma Pandit, co-founder Flow Realty. Vyoma is an IIM Bangalore grad, an avid marketeer and known leader in real estate, having spent over 13 years in real estate across companies like Lodha, Brigade, Shriram. She is known for her disruptive marketing strategies and use of new age tech to create case studies in real estate turnaround. I welcome you over here, Vyoma. Can we give it out for Vyoma Pandit, please? Our speakers, our panelists in alphabetical order. Give it out for Avinash, Suresh, COO, Arvind, Smartspaces Limited. Settle down, please, settle down. Yeah, you're good. Avinash is an alumnus of the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, and the National Law School of India University, Bangalore. At Arvind Smartspaces, Avinash is responsible for entire operations from spearheading growth to strategizing the company's entry into newer markets and segments. He has 17 years of cumulative multidisciplinary experience. Let's give it out for Avinash, Suresh, and let's also put our hands together for Azaan, Feroz, Sait, the founder, Safina Ventures, and founder and Chief Happiness Officer, The Hub. Azaan Feroz is the founder of Safina Ventures, a legacy he has furthered in his family. With The Hub Bengaluru, he was one of the first ones to enter the shared spaces arena 5 years ago, which has now emerged into India's largest and fastest growing community of creators through his creative agency and media house. Give it out for Azaan, Feroz, Sait, please. Next on the list, I've got Srinath, Kandala, co-founder PropVR. Srinath is an industry expert on metaverse, holographic projections with over 9 years of experience in AR, VR, MR, and XR technologies. Welcome, Srinath. Welcome. Srinivasan Subramanian, Executive Director, Koncept, Ambience. Let's give it out for Srinivasan. With over 25 years experience in the field of marketing and communication, Srinivasan has worked in the Middle East with TBWA and RAAD. Currently, as well, earlier Srinivasan was with SNN Builders as CEO and contributed for the brand's growth in Bengaluru. Srinivasan, it's awesome and wonderful to have you over here. Next on the list, please put your hands together for the one and only Vishesh Kaul, Chief Information and Digital Officer, Prestige Group. Vishesh has been in the tech and digital industry for the last 20 years. He has led global capabilities in digital e-commerce and combined the power of AI, ML, data, and IoT to create digital marketing experiences which have been unique innovations for their times. Let's give it out for Vishesh Kaul. And I would now request the moderator to kindly take forward the proceedings for today evening. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, that works. Thank you. I didn't get your name. Ankit. Thank you all. Ankit, we'll put a round of applause for introducing us. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, good evening all of you. Good evening. Break chahiye? Break chahiye to bata do. We are all marketing people. We understand attention deficit problems. Yeah? Okay, great. So we'll do a small exercise. We all want to keep this session very, very engaging, right? So would love to have inputs from the audience as well. Please do interact whenever you can. Raise your hands for questions. I'm sure the speakers will be very happy to answer your questions along the go, right? Yeah, okay. So we'll do a quick show of hands here. How many here are from marketing or sales teams or marketing backgrounds? Okay, a little higher, please. Hands a little higher up, please. Okay, I can guess it's about a third of the room, which is from a marketing background, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, different question. How many of you are married? Married or live-in relationship? Okay, 2 more hands went up. Okay, great. So again, a third of the room. Okay, right. Now, another question. Amongst the people who live with a partner, right? How many of you, okay, we'll say raise your left hand up if you check your phone first thing in the morning, and raise your right hand up if you give a smile or a kiss to your partner. First thing in the morning. Okay, सारे झूठ बोल रहे. Right hand is going up. Okay, first the show of left hands. Who checks their phone first thing in the morning? Okay, I just figured I was looking at the wrong hand from my side. हाँ, यहाँ पे भी बता दो. Yeah, these are all the phone people, na? बाकी सब झूठ बोल रहे. Okay. Okay, so I think out of the people who are married, 80% people are checking their phone first thing in the morning. Okay, and that's how entrenched is digital technology in our daily lives. Okay, and that's the topic that this amazing panel is going to discuss today, right? Digital marketing and what do we expect to see in real estate digital marketing in 2023. Okay, yeah? So we'll do a quick roundup of questions again towards the end, right? Please do make your notes. Please enjoy the session. And again, if you feel it's getting too boring, raise your right hand, okay? Anytime during the panel. Thank you. Cool. So we'll just do a quick roundup of, a recap, so to say, of, say, the last decade in real estate, right? And digital marketing, from what I remember, I used to be in Brigade Group at around 2012, exactly 10 years ago, right? And that is when we were seeing this whole shift happening from pure play offline marketing to a very healthy mix between offline and online marketing, right? Property portals were there for a bit, right? But it was mostly about listings, classifieds, and, very traditional digital marketing without all the products that the property portals have these days, right? But direct marketing using publishers, using Google, using Facebook, using YouTube, right? A lot of these were not as matured there then, especially in real estate, right? So the last decade is when real estate has really seen the advent of digital coming through, right? But the last decade has also been one of the most tricky decades that real estate has seen, right? You had demonetization, you had GST regime changes, you had RERA coming in, you had the NBFC liquidity crisis, right? And then you had COVID on top of it all, right? So it was one of the most, so to say, challenging decades that most of us have seen in our careers, in our lifetime in real estate, right? And digital marketing has been a steady constant all through it, right? So if you could just share your journey through how have you seen digital marketing evolve over the last decade in your respective experiences, right? Maybe we could start with you, Srini. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. Basically, right from 2000, let me take a little bit of, she said about 2013, 14, actually, it happened, the digital transformation. Prior to that, it is just the static media which happened with the print, outdoor, radio, and a bit of events which were happening. During that period, if you go to see that, I still remember when we went at SNN, when we released a half-page ad in the front page, we got close to about 1,200 calls, out of which we converted a lot. Days were really good. The digital transformation took place from, I would say, from 14 onwards. A bit was there. People were definitely doing online and whatever the digital portals were there, they were just picking up the 99 acres of the world. Housing came back later. But overall, the total digital transformation happened just maybe 2-3 years prior to COVID. Then as she rightly said, too many things happened, the GST, the demand, everything happened. And then to an extent, it was good, it was bad. Basically, most of the real estate guys by then had a lot of inventory piled up. That particular period gave them a chance to liquidate as many possible as the ready-to-move-in projects. And fairly, COVID actually, to be honest with you, it gave us all the complete realization that we'll have to do something differently, basically because digital is all about, it's dynamic, it's engaging, it's very interactive. Static is one too many, digital is many too many. This is what I would assess. But it has played a major role basically in terms of how the brands transformed. I was at SNN that time. I joined Koncept recently, but prior to that, SNN was a reasonably known builder. But the way digital transformed the entire company, not only digital, basically from the project point of view, we were slightly scoring a better marks in terms of themed project, better after sales. All these things coupled together, I think digital is definitely moving forward in terms of how we want to project the brands. Not only the A-class builders, A, B, C, D, up to whatever, the minimal budget you have, still you can work around and then prepare an inclusive media planning as well. This is what I would take.
Great, thank you so much. Avinash, would you like to share a word?
Sure, thanks. Good evening. I think it's very difficult to say anything more after Mr. Srinivasan, but I'll still give it a crack. So I think more than macroeconomic factors, I think there are some other factors that have impacted digital marketing over the last 10 years. I think the first is the evolution of platforms itself, right? If you look at platforms like Google, 10 years ago, it was a pure play search platform. Their SEO was so rudimentary that, all digital marketers had to do was kind of push marketing, right? You kind of keyword stuffed. You didn't have to create any great content. You would still get through, your content would still rise up onto the top of Google. But as Google also evolved and their SEOs got better, digital marketers had to then start thinking about how to create better content, right? Because better content was really what got you a better ranking. Similar is the case with something like Facebook. So Facebook, when it started, it was just, there wasn't even a timeline, it was just a wall, right? And you could put up static text or static pictures on it. In, I think, 2014 or 15 is when they launched lead ads. That's when people really understood the power of data. And you had digital marketers start to analyze data and then figure out how to create marketing strategies around it. Right? So I think the evolution of these platforms was the first thing that impacted digital marketing. The second is, as users, how we consume data also, right? For the first part of this decade, this 2012 to 14, most of our consumption was text-based again and image-based. Later, we started consuming voice, we started consuming videos, and then once we started doing that, this influencer marketing and all of those kind of things started evolving. And also, then, slowly as it came to around 18, 19, we started becoming more interactive, right? And when it became interactive, then, you had people started creating interactive content as well. The third, I think, aspect, if you ask me, was the penetration of mobile phones and usage of data on mobile phones, right? If, again, you look at it, I think 2014 is when the consumption of data on mobile phones overtook consumption of data on laptops or, static. Absolutely. So then, again, digital marketers had to start thinking of how to make content adaptable to mobile phones and, come to a mobile phone or a mobile-first kind of a strategy. Finally, and I think for real estate, the most important impetus was the pandemic. Till the advent of the pandemic, as the real estate companies, we were kind of behind the curve on digital marketing. But the pandemic forced us to think of digital marketing, forced us to create digital marketing strategies and start investing heavily in digital marketing. So while I think the evolution happened over a whole decade, for real estate, the evolution happened over the last 3 years.
Great, wonderful, wonderful starting insights to begin the discussion, right? So the next thing, taking on from this, right, what my experience has been through all the firms I've been with, right? I mean, Lodha was, a decade ago, even a company like Lodha would not have seen this much investment in digital marketing happening as it is today, right? So way back then, as part of the marketing team, we would never have such a big digital marketing budget, right? With Brigade, we made a lot of experiments, a lot of investments started happening in digital, right? And last firm, Shriram, was almost all digital marketing budgets. So now, working in a setup where we mostly at Flow work with smaller developers, right? Where, the brand budget is not in the range of crores, or the project size is not in the range of 1,000 crores or something you would be Vishesh handling at Prestige, right? Or you would be handling at Arvind, right? So for a project which is in the range of, say, 100 crores, right? Which is a lot of projects in a city like Bangalore especially. Right? Digital I see as becoming this great level playing field. Okay. Earlier it used to be like who has the biggest muscle power to put up full page ads in newspapers, or take up 30 hoardings in the city, or put up a big radio campaign. And those were the people who could win the market share or attention of the target audience. Now we see that even a person with a budget of, say, 5 lakh, right, including players in other sectors or tier 2 or tier 3 cities of India, can reach their audience in a very, very small budget, right? So would love your views, Azaan, and maybe later Vishesh, on where do you think digital marketing is playing a role in creating a very level playing field for different types of developers in the industry?
Sure. So I think if I'm here today, then that speaks for how level the playing field has become, right? I'm 29 years old. I've only been in business 6 years. We started out as a shared space company, and over the last 2 years since the pandemic kind of forced us to see what can we do digitally, and it kind of gave birth to our digital wing, which is today an agency and a media house where we work with brands. We work with brands in all sectors, not just in real estate. I think access to capital was the biggest barrier in building businesses, let's say, in the last decade. I think today it's more based on knowledge and how creatively can you think and approach things. And knowledge is democratized. Everything is available on YouTube. It's not even behind a paywall that you need to subscribe to an online MBA course. It's literally freely available. I think these levelers fundamentally change the way in which marketing will be done in the next decade, right? The big brands will always use ROI-based digital marketing initiatives, but I think the secret weapon for smaller brands is to do pure play content marketing, which is like the way we approach content at the Hub, is that the content should serve the consumer, stand alone. It so happens it's powered by a brand. It's not an ad. So I think there's so many things, and that's why I'm so excited to hear today from everyone over here as to what the next few years might look like.
I think you are making a very valid point, Vyoma, in saying that digital has offered that, opportunity, equal opportunity for everyone. But there is another side to the story, because digital is also evolving, right? So while people or small businesses are finding avenues on the digital platform, there are new, avenues which will keep on evolving, and the customer will start moving, to those new avenues as well. Metaverse being the, the latest phenomena. Everybody wants a metaverse now, right? Or the explosion of platforms. Where do you advertise? So there will be some challenges which we'll see continuing in that direction, because the explosion of platforms in itself will force, the companies or the players to think where to invest their money in and where to get the best returns from. But in terms of ensuring that there is a presence which is felt, targeting the eyeballs that you really want to target, I think digital has really transformed that landscape. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Just on a lighter note, we keep discussing in the industry and even in office is that the level playing field is for everybody of us out here, right? But it is absolutely not a level playing field for who's making money at the end of the day, right? So Google's gotten richer. Facebook, I think real estate must be one of the biggest spends industry purely by way of ticket size, right? If you're considering, say, a 1,000 crore project, over its life cycle, the project is likely to spend 10 crores in over digital marketing, right? So a side question to this, an extension to this, is that these are the platforms which have traditionally been used by our industry, at least from a performance marketing perspective, lead generation perspective, because the ROI has been great and everybody's lapping it up. You have a small budget. over the funnel, you are very, very likely to get at least a 1% conversion, from your revenue generated to the leads to the marketing budget spent. And it's extremely efficient and it's extremely measurable. You can measure every step of the journey, right? You can measure your impressions, you can measure your clicks, you can measure your conversion, you can measure your site visits and your bookings. So entire funnel is mapped, very tightly measured, and developers are loving it, right? Industry is loving it. Do you see something else which real estate has not tried so far, or some new platforms especially emerging which could change this? For example, metaverse, I don't know what Facebook's doing about it. Maybe they're shutting down the vertical, right? So it's all these billionaires going crazy in US. But yeah, but are there any interesting platforms? For example, Twitter. For example, LinkedIn has not really seen the offtake it could have, considering how strong the targeting is, right? Do you see any interesting platforms coming up, any of you?
I think I have something to share here. Like, our whole approach as an agency is to leverage the full force of what we call the creator economy today, right? And I think you correctly pointed out that with digital marketing, you can see the end-to-end. And I think that's both a pro and a con. Because if 1% conversion is the end-to-end, then you're limiting your upside with digital marketing. But if you approach it as branding, like we can take a case study of a creator many of you guys might be familiar with in this room. Look at Sait, and look at the way in which he works with brands. Those investments are long-term investments in what we like to call digital PR of sorts, right? So I think it's about finding a balance between your digital marketing and your digital PR and something that you need for today, but something that's long-term going to make you a relevant brand.
Yeah, sure, got it. So seeing digital as also a PR and a brand building medium, rather than letting it remain as it is today, a very transactional ROI-driven medium. Yeah, okay, got it, great. Yeah, Vishesh.
I'll have a point on this as well. Traditionally, digital marketing has been, like you mentioned, a transactional thing, right? So you identify an agency, you outsource to them, they do the job, and you somehow wait for the conversion rates. The trend that I see is companies owning up the first party digital marketing now, right? So instead of making it transactional, owning the whole piece around the digital marketing. So that's a trend that I have seen happening, many companies setting their own capabilities. And then the second thing around that is defining the success parameters at an end-to-end level, right? From that perspective. So these are the two trends that I'm observing in the market. And in that space, I think there's a lot of disruption which is waiting to happen or is already in the process. You'll be surprised to know the largest marketing agency in the world today is Accenture.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So no,
Yeah.
I was shocked when I heard that, and I heard that about 2 weeks back.
Yeah.
Nobody would have imagined Accenture to be the largest marketing agency in the world.
Yeah, their
But
team is
that's
running into a few tens of thousands, right? I mean, on
Exactly.
digital transformation.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what is happening. That's a change which is happening on the ground. So Google, Facebook, Twitter, these kind of platforms where people are engaging, they will still be the delivery mediums, but the execution is shifting. The ownership is shifting, and that's shifting towards first party marketing ownership in the organizations. That's very clear.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Great insights. Okay. Any questions so far, or we'll reserve it for the end? Okay. All right. Should we take 1 or 2 questions? Yeah. Please, just come down. Yes. We'll take 1 question and then move to the...
Good evening. My name is Umesh from Brai. As a realtor, digital marketing can able to help because the size of money and all, whatever is involved is for the developer. But I think if there are realtors across this conference, we take money only after the transaction. Realtor is the only person takes the money after the registration. Some people will give, some people will not give, irrespective of what is RERA, what is not, that is secondary. But including digital marketing, we also wanted to root through that. We also wanted to take the opportunity. But you name anything for that matter, it could be digital, it could be 99 acres, it could be Magic Brick. They take our money in advance, and then we have to wait for the result. Is there any solution in digital marketing so that at least our association can come, if they come close? I have given many options to many of the digital people, whomever has approached. They say 30,000, 40,000. I told them I'll give you 1 lakh. But let the transaction go. We'll sign a MOU. So far, nobody has break that. Hope there are, heroes are here. I just wanted to listen from them. Thank you.
Thank you. I think great question. एक business model emerge होके आ रहा है. Creating a credit, creating a lending agency, okay, to lend money to our realtor community to do a postpaid model in real estate. Azaan, this is a raw business model for you. Please take it up.
We're a really small agency as of now, but I think
you wish Google and Facebook would give you credit, right?
Right?
So do I. Yeah.
But I think these kind of things will all emerge in the next 5 to 10 years as both industries start working closely together. I think only equity, only performance-related pay is not maybe the end-all solution as far as an agency is concerned, but a balance somewhere in between, right? Of maybe a partial retainer and a partial conversion based on performance-related a payout. I think these kinds of deals are being made very actively in the market today. We are offered a lot of them.
Yeah, I think as the industry matures, a lot of these solutions will start coming up. Yeah.
So I think it's a great question, right? And this is something as companies we also battle with, right? I think real estate is one of the few industries where your digital spends and your channel partners' digital spends, right, need to work in tandem. In some cases, they are actually competing with each other because you're both looking to get your
same pie, same customer.
Part of the same pie.
Yeah.
So I think as we mature, we are going to have to find a strategy where our spends and our channel partners' spends work in tandem to create a maximum, to create the maximum output, right? So one of the things, for example, that we did is for the first time, we tried to create a back-end system to assist channel partners. Right? This is not so much on the digital side, but we said that since the channel partner is investing so much upfront to get us leads, we said that in the back-end, we will set up a call center to try and actually make sure that his conversion of leads is much higher. So instead of him trying to convert, that our back-end will try and convert the leads.
True.
So I think different developers are going to work different strategies, but unless it is synergistic in its entirety, it will not work in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. So some of these small solutions are emerging, like with some of our Flows partner developers, we are giving advance brokerage to some of our channel partners to make them invest purely into digital. I mean, the solution is not to give you brokerage, just for the sake of it. The idea is you need a certain amount to start the digital journey or marketing of the project, facilitate that, and over a period of time, the cycle will complete. Yeah. Yes.
See, one other thing, what I did at SNN when I was there is tie up with some of the channel partners, and then we did co-branding. But unfortunately, what happened, the transparency is not from either side, because it's always booking, and my team is also saying, and channel partner team is also saying, there is always a controversy. So we should, nowadays, you take the example of the mandate agencies, how they function. They take the media spend as well, and then tell them we allocate 1.5%, 2% among the total percentage, they work it out. Maybe what BRI can do it, maybe sit with a couple of builders and then work out a strategy where BRI as an association could work out for select, say, 10 builders 10 CPs to work with certain builders and come up with a solution. I think it will work out well.
Great. There's your idea. Yeah? Okay, great. So, Srinath has been very silent. He's sitting right in the center. Okay. He has not been talking because we have been talking very low tech. Okay. So now we'll go from low tech to high tech, and only then he'll talk. All right. So, Srinath, now this is exclusively for you. Yeah. So, we've been seeing a lot of advent of virtual reality, augmented reality, a lot of these VR, AR solutions in real estate since maybe about 2013-14, right? That was the time when we started getting Oculus, as a device. Google came up with Cardboard. A lot of new startups came in the space of creating virtual experiences of projects in real estate, right? Where the customer could go to an experience center or sit in the comfort of his home, right? And experience the project from, say, wherever he is, even if in a different country, right? At that same time was also when people had started to experiment with selling real estate online. This was way before COVID, right? So COVID to aaya abhi 2020 mein, but before that, people were already doing Google Online Home Festival, right? And there was all these companies developing their own portal. Housing.com came up with its, its own sale and their slice view and all of those solutions at that time. And a lot of developers were very enthused to lap it up, experiment, spend good amounts in creating these virtual solutions, right? But that wave lasted for about 2 years, and then it started becoming a little flatter. One hypothesis is a lot of cash flow issues started coming because of the recession and supply piling up. Marketing budgets nahi the ye sab karne ke liye, right? But you are very close to the ground. You are seeing how people are adopting these technologies. What is your view on how the journey has been, and where do you see some interesting stuff happening next year?
Thank you, Vyoma, for the question. So that's the time, 2013 and 14, that's the time we found the company PropVR. So the day when Oculus was launched, from then we have been trying to create VR and AR experiences for not only real estate, also with a lot of other industries like automotive and education and things. But to be very frank, real estate was the only industry which was paying us. So we had to stick on here and do a lot of experiment. So, to be very frank, in terms of the technology, yes, at that point of time, it was very, it was a very initial stage. Even the devices was not so supportive. So the companies like Oculus and HTC and Google, everybody were trying to figure out their own, headsets. Google miserably failed in Google Lens. So there was many companies who are still trying to create these hardwares. So until and unless, like how everybody has a laptop and mobile phones today at their own space, they should also have these VR headsets, at a very affordable cost. Then this technology would have been a game changer at that point of time. But to be very frank, this AR, VR, and AI has taken a huge leap last 5 years. You should, VR is just part of an output. But to be very frank, for real estate developers, everybody should focus on a modern pipeline of creating the 3D. So let's say every developer, it is a mandate for them to market their product. They do different kind of images. They create walkthrough videos for which they spend huge amount of money, right? It's not just they do a video in a lakh or something like that. Today they spend minimum of 8 to 10 lakhs to just create a rendering video just to explain the project for 3 to 4 minutes. But what if I say we have figured out a pipeline which is completely different from the traditional way of creating 3D. So, and the web is also taking a great shift, shift from 2 to 3. So the Web 3 is on the way. It's not a ghost. It's a more interesting technology that's coming in. So Web 3 pay, there is going to be lot and lot of interactive and collaborative content. That's what Sir also mentioned as metaverse. So people are going to be in a multiplayer mode, cross-collaborate in platforms, cross-collaborate with devices. Let's say 5 of us in this panel can have one devices. One can have a laptop, one can have a VR, one can have a mobile phone, one can have a tablet, and still collaborate and see the real estate project in live, right? Even before the project is constructed, you can create a project in 3D which exactly looks 100% similar, and people can enter into the property and see everything in detail. So what we are trying to give to all the real estate developers here is, how do I make them spend less money and get more outputs? Because NRI customers may have high-tech devices, but Indian customers may not have high-tech devices. So devices are getting launched. Yes, even Jio is coming up with their own mixed reality glasses. They are trying to distribute 50 lakh glasses at free. They have launched this glass just 1 month, 2 months back. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the glass. So when they launched the 5G technology, so these devices has to really hit the people. So I was not device dependent. I made my platform and ensure that developers spend less money and get a better output that can be deployed across all devices. So the modern 3D pipeline creation is saving a huge amount of money, and I think it's time for real estate industry to invest on tech so that it is going to make them future ready. So even the real estate search is going to become completely in 3D. You can see companies like Square Yards and Housing and everybody are trying to create their own 3D search, map-based search experiences. Let's say a developer wants to put his project into a 3D search. Now he has to spend huge amount of money to create that. But as a company, as a technology, what I feel technology should provide is an affordable thing that can work on all platforms, whether it is Housing or Square Yards or any platform. Once the content is done, it should be easily movable to any platform that has. That is a game changer that we are trying to give. So we save a lot of money and deploy it across devices. So the technology is at its sleep. Yes, we are in a transition from Web 2 to 3. Web 3 is going to be very interesting in the next decade. Yes, that's the answer from me.
I think it's out of battery. Yeah, I've run out of battery. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Great. So if Srinath has his way, then customers will, in 5 years from now, crib about how their apartment is not like the model apartment they saw in person, but how the actual apartment is not like the virtual apartment they saw, right? Unless construction teams catch up. Yeah. Okay, great. So moving on, one thing that we've been discussing is the tech, right? But behind any tech is people. Yeah. And one very, very important shift that has happened in the last decade is the skilling required to make all of this tech and digital marketing happen, right? All of people present here on stage, you are all recruiters, right? You have large teams. You keep looking for the right talent who can make your vision come true, your ideas into reality, right? How have you seen the digital marketing talent shift, right, over the last few decades? And what is your wish list for the digital talent for 2023? Anybody?
So I just start because so to be very frank, in real estate, it's not fully, you don't have fully highly talented people. I can see a lot of edtech crowd just joining into real estate. And
because they get laid off so often.
Yeah, that's also a fact. You have to agree. But, and also in the mindset of people, RE has always not been a high-paid, industry. So people who are into digital and IT, these guys would always need a better salary. They need to be positioned themselves in a better lifestyle. So now, yes, our real estate industry is changing, and they have started hunting talents like crazy, like never before. We are getting huge amount of talents coming in, but still not fully. I would agree on that. Down the line, yes, with these content creators is what the game is going to change. So real estate has to invest more and more on content creator economy, because that they are going to be the game changers. So your content has to be good. They will be the better choice.
Okay. So Azaan, content, I'm just picking up from this, and while you're going to answer your question, if you could just throw a little more light on your idea of the perfect content person. You know, you would be dreaming of those guys. Okay. What's your idea of that perfect content person?
Sure. I think technical skills are overrated when you're trying to recruit today, because we're moving into a no-code environment, right? AI and ML is handling all the technicalities of it. I put out a LinkedIn post today, and that post was actually what was generated from Chat GPT, right? So it's more about asking the right question than it's about being able to handle a technical answer. And when we look at talent at the hub, actually, so we have an agency and we have a media house. On our media house, one of the fastest growing verticals is talent as a service. So we actually, an offshoot that we've just started is trying to help bigger brands recruit. It's coming back to what I was trying to talk about earlier, right? Look at anything you do in digital communication as digital PR instead of digital marketing, because the same piece of content you put out about a project if you focus on storytelling, will attract you both the talent you need and your customer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great. And Vishesh, you have come from a talent powerhouse called Unilever and recently joined Prestige, right? So what is your very initial view or a scan of the kind of quality of talent real estate has, especially in this field, and what's your wish list?
See, I just want to pick up on Azaan's point. As long as companies plan to be third-party marketing consumers, right? That means they're working with external parties. I think what Azaan said is bang on, right? But like I said, that there is a decisive shift happening to own the relationship with the customer, with the consumer. And that requires a first-party marketing capability. That does not allow you to stay away from the talent requirements, which are required, from that perspective. It's not only about developers. So like Azaan, we are right. So no code and low code and other things are coming in. But one thing that you cannot do away with is data. How do you handle that data and the models you build on top of that, right? That is going to be the skill of future. There will be some requirement around developers as well. But again, there are capabilities which are coming up in the market where the codes are, AI is writing the code. So it's very interesting area, and I'm watching it keenly, how it will evolve. Potentially, it can create an economy which does not require high-end, developers for the capabilities, but it's a space to watch out for. But if as a first-party marketing consumer, I think I'm very much interested in hiring the talent in the market, particularly around data. Absolutely.
Got it. Great. Okay. So since you brought up data, right? I was resisting using this big data word on this panel. सब लोग वही बोलते रहते big data है, AI, ML है, हम ऐसे ही फेंकते हैं words, without understanding. Real estate में use ही नहीं होता है, right? Big data is something which is like millions and millions of data points that go into selection of who do you want to target, and then probably Facebook uses in its algorithm in the backend. But real estate, to be honest, has never been faced with that problem, right? But we have been faced with a different problem, which is too much of data with too little targeting, right? So can we talk a little bit about the pitfalls of what digital marketing has brought about, right? Because it's become so easy to reach your target audience, right? Are we misusing, or are we bombarding our consumers with too much information without knowing exactly what they want to see or what they want to consume, right? Maybe Avinash, you can share your thoughts on that.
Sure. So I think you're right in the sense that it's not just us as an industry, but anybody using digital marketing over the last couple of years. The strategy was just carpet bomb, right? And generate leads. It is already very cheap to generate leads through digital marketing, so you're willing to spend that money. But regulation itself, I think, is going to force us to be more ethical when it comes to digital marketing. And I think respecting privacy is always a good strategy. And you are going to see developers or anybody else using digital marketing strategies starting to use ethical marketing practices. And I think that will actually lead to better conversions, better leads, and less bad publicity, bad press for anybody involved in digital marketing itself.
Yeah. For example, you see lot of these stock images, right? Because koi filter to hota nahi hai, right? We are marketing a plotted development in Devanhalli and we see a picture of Switzerland, right? So, मतलब कुछ भी कर सकते हो ऐसे कि, and hands up who have done this. Switzerland literally नहीं होगा, चलो कुछ और होगा. Okay, it will be some place in Himachal. Okay, but how many of us have been guilty of using better looking stock imagery rather than using an actual picture or a render of a project, because you know that the digital audience will love it, right? We are the only honest people out here, right? We all do it, right? But when the customer comes and sees what he has to offer, right, it's always a step down, right? So as an industry, because we are a very high ticket size industry, we also have a lot of responsibility. Because you're taking a person's life savings basis first, an impression on the website, right? Next, maybe a brochure, right? An e-brochure maybe. Then a model apartment. And he takes a loan of a lifetime. He takes a loan of 20 years and uses all this imagery to put half of his monthly income into buying this home or an office, which he's probably not going to get in its entirety, right? So as marketers, I think one thing, especially in digital marketing, is that like Avinash was saying, right, that responsibility, that ethical marketing is something that we all think should be one of the key trends of 2023 and hopefully beyond as well. Yeah, great. Yeah, please.
Sorry, I just have one point over here from how digital marketing has been till now. So everybody wants to sell to someone. The biggest problem till now, before 2012 was that everything was print, no digital marketing, so we'll publish ads and nobody would know the returns and everything. So digital marketing solved that problem. So everybody is selling now, hoping it will hit the right customer. But who's that right customer is still the key question, which no digital marketer is answering. Possibly because the solution does not exist, right? So there is one side of this thing, and the hope of finding the right customer, they're using any possible avenue. So a single customer or single person would get through 6 different channels the same message saying buy a property here, right? If he goes on email, he sees an ad. If he goes on a chat, possibly somebody will ping him and say, do you want to buy this? The focus will shift now in understanding who wants to buy. That is going to happen because at the end of the day, the volume of data which is getting created in terms of the leads and other things, because customers have also become smart. They understand, right, that you are tracking them. So they also, one developer, they go to one channel, other developer, they'll go to other channel. Then there are, prop tech firms as well who, sort of get the leads together and mediate. So the investments in understanding the intent of the customer, that's the next big wave, which is going to come. And the use of data and ML and AI in predicting that, so that you don't waste your time chasing 17,000 lists because it came from somewhere, but focus on only those 1,700 leads, which have a higher chance of turning around.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely going to happen.
Yeah, please, Azaan. Yeah.
I wanted to add something. Can we do a quick poll? So how many people in this room got either a call, a telemarketing call or a message in the last 7 days?
We don't pick
right?
up. Yeah.
Out of those call or messages, we are all leads in today. That's the way that the internet looks at us, right? We're all leads. We were talking earlier in the room before this about a different approach to nurturing a lead. So we're going to be hit with marketing regardless. I think the people in this room have the opportunity to change the way in which that happens at least. Out of those people who kind of raised their hand said that they were approached as a lead, how many of them were, are you interested to buy, versus we heard you were looking to buy a house, here's a guide on how to do up an apartment in less than 10 lakhs. A helpful piece of content that may or may not result in a deal closure for the person hitting you with the ad. How many people got a guide or something that was useful? Is there anybody, could we see hands? One person? So it's just that. That's the kind of, if there's something that I could contribute here, I think as decision makers in this room, the content can serve, right? So you're disturbing someone, you're going into their phone, you're giving them a notification. Maybe the least we can do is give them something of value that may or may not help them, but at least it's an attempt to try to add some value, as opposed to just trying to sell.
Excellent, excellent, great. So I think, Srini, sorry, I think time's up. There's a red screen out there, right? So if we may, right, can we all just in 3 crisp words, right, sum up what each one of you think are going to be the top 3 things to watch out for in digital marketing in 2023? Yeah? Maybe we can come outside in. Vishesh, yeah.
So there are two developments I'm observing in the digital world. One is democratization of social media. With what happened at Twitter, I think there is a lot of concern about ownership of social media platforms by big business tycoons, right? Tech titans. And there's a very concentrated effort happening in setting up democratized infrastructure where people can set up their own social media platform and, for example, 100 people get together, they have their own social media platform and others can join later on. So that's, and Jack Dorsey, who invented Twitter, he's leading this. There's a product infrastructure called Blue Sky. So he's leading that.
वो पैसे बना लिए Elon Musk से okay अभी democratization करेंगे.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one development I'm watching. The second is the whole OpenAI thing, the chat GPT that he's talking about. I think people are, even technocrats, they are not realizing the potential of that. And it's not very far away. Within 2 years or even faster, people who don't have the skills, they can just type something and OpenAI will help them convert it into an image, send it to the right person, possibly code around that as well, set up a website in 10 minutes, all that is going to happen. And it's not very far. It's hardly 1 or 2 years away. So these are the two spaces that I am watching very keenly, and they will be huge disruptors, in my opinion.
Perfect, great. Over to you, Srini.
Yeah, I feel that over a period of time, since a lot of maturity is there as far as real estate companies are concerned, I think inclusive media planning will start happening, meaning that agencies or anybody walking into your office, they can't just say that we will do this and the clients will accept that. So there will be an inclusive. Then there is a relevant advertising. Advertising is all about tell all truth. I strongly believe in that, but it's not coming through rightly. But I think 30–40% of the real estate companies have started adopting this. And the third thing what I see is that development of internal strong digital team will definitely come. When I said that about the advertising message in real estate, I think we need to be honest in saying and now supporting the sustainability, which is the key issue as far as all the developers are concerned, number one. And the last thing what I spoke is all about, it's all a joint effort from the management side, and the CEOs and the EDs have to play a role in terms of going through every little piece of communication that goes out from the real estate. This is my request. Thank you.
Perfect, yes, thank you. Srinath.
Let me be clearly very crisp on these 3 points. I think AI is going to be big time game changer. Number 2, I see the metaverse coming into the play. That is also going to be a big thing that is going to happen. Then number 3 is going to be the creator economy. So I see these 3 are the key factors that are going to change.
Great, thank you. That was very crisp.
Yeah,
Azaan.
I think the creator economy is going to play a major role. I think content as a means to first serve the consumer and then the brand. And definitely no code, because that kind of changes the way people approach hiring.
Got it, great. Yeah, Avinash.
So I think with the ramp up of 5G, you're going to see a lot of work around metaverse marketing, AR and VR. And I think more importantly, you're going to see ethical marketing becoming a big trend starting this year.
Great, wonderful. So if we sum up what everybody has talked about today, number one, content becomes important every year. 2023 will be no different, right? Use of AI to be able to focus on the right audiences, right? And it's already happening in the back end, which is why you are being able to get more meaningful leads with every year passing with minimal marketing spends, right? So use of AI to better target people and learn of their buying behaviors, right? Number 3, ethical marketing. No use of shortcuts and wrong content or bombarding people with cold calls, etc. Ethical marketing, right? And we're also going to have a delve into metaverse and actually have more digital buying for a product even like real estate happening as well, right? The last is democratization. More people are being able to afford technology and hence hopefully more sales with Realty Plus having more of these events happening and more of us meeting sooner than later after this long gap of 4 years, right? So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone here on stage for being a wonderful, wonderful panel. And thanks all of you for being a great audience. Sorry we couldn't take questions unless the organizer team permits. I think we're out of time. Yeah?
Yeah, but you can be seated. And this was a fireside chat. And let me tell you, Vyoma Pandit, you set it on fire. Yeah, so thank you for being a brilliant moderator, keeping everyone on their toes and ensuring that everyone gets the right set of inputs. So congratulations to you and the panel. Well done. And I'm going to request Raj Nayak from MRICS, Senior Director, Emerging Business, to kindly come forward to do the honors, please. Put your hands together for Raj Nayak, please. So I'm going to request you to present a token of appreciation to our moderator and the panelists, please. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. Congratulations and thank you for your time. Thank you. Congratulations. Can we put our hands together, please? Come on. I think they deserve a bigger round of applause, please. Well, I'm going to request all of you to just stay up for another photo op, please. I'm going to request the stalwarts to kindly come together for a photo op, please. All of you together. The audience, can we give it out to them, please? They've been brilliant, outstanding, phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.